WITN Endzone, every Friday night at 11. High school football. Scores and highlights. Regional games, regional coverage. WITN Endzone, sponsored by 264 Shoes and Apparel.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Hello and welcome into the End Zone, where yes, tonight we are talking about playoffs. In the first year of the expanded format, the brackets may look different, but the objective remains the same. Win and you advance, lose, and that's all she wrote. First up, Rose back at home this year for the postseason, where they'd meet Triton in 6A. The defense allowed just 3 points in the first half, which would carry over to the second. Martise Bradley on the sack there to give the ball back to their O. And after a big first half, points would be no problem for the Rampants. A screen to the slippery Cason Chase does the trick here. Rose up 34-3 after he finds the end zone. And then for a little deja vu, remember that play. Few minutes later, they go right back to it, and it nets the same result. Jimmy Martin feeds the sophomore Duran Bell as Rose runs away with this one 47-10, advancing to play Southern Alamance next Friday. Then in 7A, South Central was hosting their first home playoff game since 2018. They matched up with South Gardner, whose ground game would be a problem. Quarterback Chase Hardy is fired up after the QB keeper as the visitors would build an early 14-0 lead. Then after the Falcons offense stalls, punter Colby Tucker says, "I can help." A perfectly timed trick play sets up Xavion Long in the open field as he does the rest for the Falcons. Ultimately, though, if you can't stop the run, that's a killer this time of year. Elijah Clark breaks off his second score of the game as the Titans win big 62-14. Now pivoting from 7 to 3A, two of our local teams met in the first round tonight with South Lenoir at Ayden-Grifton. As Dr. Garrett Wingate looked to keep his first season as head coach going, this year's team carried plenty of experience from last year's run to this year, as Holly Hollinger details from the sideline.
Yeah, Dugan, and after winning the conference and making it to the regional semis last year, this team has been hungry for another shot at a playoff run. And they made it obvious tonight in what I'd call something of a fog bowl. But what South Lenoir didn't know was that those low clouds were electrically charged. John Fields lets one loose out of the pocket to a wide open E.J. Ruffin. They'd go for two and get it, 14-0 Chargers. Next man up, and it's Loyalty Fuller, remember the name, bullying his way through three Blue Devils, practically dunking over the line for a 20-point lead. And if anyone took a break between quarters, you might have missed this one. The same arm that just stretched into the end zone found Kai Manny Nelson for another one, 27-0 and counting. Just a few plays later, South Lenoir's Christian Wooten trying to squeeze one through the coverage, but E.J. Ruffin had other plans and almost houses it, stirring up excitement as you can see, but Sean Pollard cleans it up on the next play. I said remember the name, and here he is again. Fuller past the 30, past the 20, to the house. I'm beginning to think there's nothing this guy can't do. Ayden-Grifton would go on to win 48-20, and Coach Garrett Wingate says his team's tough attitude can be attributed to their culture.
I think it's the culture that's happened in 3 years, first under Coach Cornwell and now under us. It's about building that culture of never quitting and never giving up until that clock hits zero. And I think it's a lot of young guys got in tonight, and those JV kids haven't learned the culture fully yet, and that's accountability, and that's what makes the program great.
So we'll see if they can carry that attitude and work ethic into next week's game against Whiteville in round 2. Whiteville did have a bye week this week, but if the Chargers play anything like they did tonight, it's sure to be a good one. In Ayden, Haley Hollinger, WITN Endzone.
All right, thanks, Haley. A big culture win for the Bolts, who get a tough program in Whiteville next. On that same side of the bracket, Farmville Central is back at home tonight, where they'd seed Hyde Trask. Farmville hosting in this one as the Jaguars offense wasted little time. Farmville keeps the momentum strong with this touchdown pass from B.J. Gardner to Bryant Dixon to make it 15-6. It was the Jaguars game all night with a monster fourth down run on 4th and 20 by B.J. Gardner. That's another trip to the end zone for the Jaguars as Farmville wins 56-28. as they get Lewisburg next week on the road.